All right, so today I'll be giving my informative speech about basketball, the culture impacts, the global impacts, how it impacted, younger children, and, just like a little bit of history about it. And I want to start off with a quote by the creator of basketball, James Naismith, and it is, "Basketball doesn't build character, it reveals it." And that's something that anyone can take for granted. Um, in your life, your career will turn you into a certain person, and you won't, know exactly who you are until you've done your job for a little bit of time, just to, get the gist of everything, stuff like that. And also, I got my LeBron jersey on because I am a LeBron super fan. So, a quote I took from an article called History of Basketball says the story of how Naismith invented the game through a charge by Luther Golick, was his physical education superintendent. He said that he wanted them to create a new indoor activity that they could play during the winter time because, um, excuse me, a lot of the people that were in the gym were football players. So during the winter time, they needed something else that they could do. So they started to brainstorm some ideas because they didn't want to keep doing physical activities like marching, calisthenics, and apparatus work because they thought it was boring. And especially if you're coming from, a football background where you're outside and you're just super physical, and then you have to come in and do, marching and no real like physical sport like that, it can become extremely boring and no one really wants to do that, especially um, if you're a football player almost year round. To add on, basketball was created in 1891, which originally they just started with a wooden, just a wooden basket, and not really like a basketball you would use today. Something much, less bouncier and made out of almost like pigskin. But there was no backboard, and it was just like a basket right in the middle. Just and they would shoot on that. And as time's passed, basketball has definitely evolved, and the culture has evolved into more of a lot of people come from around the world, from everywhere. Serbia, Japan, Africa, a bunch of different people come from around the world to play this game here in America because it is one of the most predominant spots for basketball. Um, Definitely has inspired people all around the world, and the culture has adapted hugely around basketball. I mean, considering that it is a predominant African American sport, a lot of people can learn about how a different race than theirs, lives their life, how they carry themselves on and off the court. And another thing they can learn from that is, how different races grew up. Like a player from Japan might be forced to play basketball all the time because that's what their parents wanted, but a player from, like LeBron James from Akron in Ohio, which is a very rundown location, and he did not have a prominent father in his life. He used basketball as almost like an escape so he could, focus on that and get himself out of trouble from certain things like, gang violence, drugs, drinking, all that. So there's very like different culture that you can learn by all these different players. And to continue on the entire culture aspect, Michael Jordan is a huge part of that. That people essentially coined the term sneakerhead because of his uh, 1985 Jordan ones that had people going off the walls for them. Almost every type of kid wanted them. It was like the hot shoe back then, which created a lot of like people collecting sneakers and stuff like that. And the quote I pulled off of Eurobasket, their article, is LeBron James has been featured in big screen productions and created materials that appeal to modern day lifestyles. So, like I said before, LeBron now has three kids. He's had a wife, same wife he's been dating since, or the same girl he's been dating since high school. And, he shows a very prominent father figure role, which is important because, like I said before, certain kids from different areas might not have a father figure, and growing up and being able to see LeBron as almost like a imaginary father figure is something that could, guide a younger kid and that could help them further their career because getting in the NBA is extremely hard. But if you have a role of someone that can tell you that you can do it and someone that is always pushing themselves and their own kids, it will greatly impact their lives. So, like I previously stated, you know, the global impact that basketball has had is extremely significant because of, television and things like that, but also you have players coming from the middle of nowhere. For example, Nikola Jokic is from Serbia, and now Serbia has a very extremely large league and it's very broadcasted. And there definitely is, that large global impact, but also the impact on the younger generation is, if not more significant, because, I grew up watching LeBron. I would go on the couch and watch it with my dad, and I love those moments, watch him play in the finals and stuff like that. But now, you have kids growing up saying they want to be like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Michael Jordan. So that impact is extremely significant because, like I said before, it applies another role in someone's life where they can that was almost like a reach out for themselves. So, in conclusion, today I talked about basketball, how it impacts the world, culture, the younger generation, a little bit about the history. Basketball is very interesting if you understand the mental part and that it's just not people running down the court and shooting the ball. But again, if you have some free time, make sure you check out some LeBron highlights because they are pretty amazing. Thank you for your time, and I'm grateful to inform you a little bit about the sport that I love.